Hello, it's Dawn here from Dawn's Inspirations. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do press the subscribe button and then you won't miss out on anything that I'm doing that's craft related. So I wanted to share this with you. Now, many years ago I did a book which was called the 6x6 mini album in an hour. It's been very, very popular. It's had lots of views if you go back and look at it. It's a particularly old one, but it's a great one and it is really quick to do. And I thought, well, let's try it in an 8x8 size. So I'm going to show you how to make yours in an 8x8 size. So this is one that I sort of pre-done. I do a couple of prototypes before I go to film it because I need to know that everything works with the measurements and things like that. So this is my prototype, and the nice thing about the 8x8 is you can have your 6x4 photographs landscape, but you can also choose to have your 6x4 photographs portrait. So this little album takes lots of images. So if we just look back quickly, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. This will take 36 6x4 size photographs. Obviously, if you want to use larger photographs, 5x7s, this album is great for that too. But if you want to do smaller ones, you could put 4 smaller ones on there as well. So it's a great album because you'll see as we're viewing it, it lays nice and flat, but the spine isn't a fixed spine. You can see we've got movement in this spine. It's slightly different. We've got movement here, and this enables this to lay nice and flat when we're viewing. We're not fighting with pages as they're up here type thing. So you're going to grab your supplies. I'm going to put a list to the link to my website where you can find everything. So basically what you're going to need is 11 sheets of A4 cardstock. Okay, so you're going to need that. You're going to need a couple of sheets of mount boards, which I've already cut. The original album that I did, I actually used 2 boards of MDF, but this time I'm using grey board. You are also going to need to have 21 sheets of pattern paper. So I've just used, you can use 12x12 you cut down, or 8x8 is perfect because you don't have any cutting down of size. So this time I've used an 8x8 pad, and this one I've over stamped with various stamps and the words that I've brought you in the past. This paper is just perfect for this because look, you can over stamp on it, but you've got spaces for your photographs. So if anybody wants to grab their hands with this, go get their hands on this one. This is from Julie Hickey Designs. My friend Hazel Eaton, she designed this paper, and it's 8x8 and it's a double-sided, so perfect, and you've got 36 sheets in here. So you only need 21 for this project, so you're going to have some left, and it's called All Weathered. Okay, so I'll leave the link as well to where you can get hold of this. So I've got my 21 sheets, but what I've done is I've done some over stamping on mine, but you might just want to go straight in with your pattern paper and then you can sort that out later. So it's picking your papers that's going to take you the longest. So I've already done that. So tools, you're going to need some glue. Okay, I've got my EVA glue, your bone folder, your scoring tool. You're going to need a scoreboard. Now, whether you choose to do this in inches or in centimetres, I'm going to film this in inches, but over on my website I will leave the centimetres version as well if you want to do that. And then you're going to need a paper trimmer. Okay, so shall we all get started? So let me move this to one side. Right, I'm going to start with my papers. We'll cut those down first, get myself nice and comfortable here. Okay, so let's just gather everything that we need. So I've got my, you can see my trimmer now there with the measurements, can't you? Let's move these over this side and pick up my paper. Right, so you're going to need one piece that measures 8 1/4 by 8 1/2 inches. Now we know with UK A4 that you are already that 8 1/4 measurement. I know if you're doing this in the US or you're using 12 by 12 cardstock, your choice. So you're going to need one that is 8 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. So that's one of those. Okay, and we keep, don't throw anything away, I'll keep that for a later date. And then we're going to need 9 pages that are 8 1/4 inches by 10. Okay, so we need 9 of those. So I'm going to cut all these. I'm doing this video in real time with you. Okay, because I think it's always good to see these things in real time, and plus the fact you can watch it through, and then if you want to craft along with me you can, because we'll both be doing it in the same time. Oh, that one slipped, I think. Let's just check. No, that's okay. And I've lost track of how many I've cut now. I know I'm not there yet because I've got my wad of card here, so I'm just going to keep going, then I'll have a count up in a minute. So there's very little cutting to do with this, so you will be fine. And I've tried to pick against something that, depending on where you are in the world, that anybody can join in with me. Okay, so I'm just going to have a little tot up of what I've got here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. Okay, so that's all of those done. And then I'm just going to move this, my scraps, to one side so I can utilise those again, which will be good. Now I'm going to then take another piece of card. So we've used 9 pages, and we've got one that is 8 1/4 by 8 1/2, which is a cover. And now we're going to make, or cut, I should say, not make, because we're not made it yet. We're going to cut the wrap that is actually going around your book. So to cut this, you need to again have that 8 1/4 height, but this time by 7 inches. Okay, so that's all the cutting we need doing, and I'm now going to start off with that one. And I'm going to move these to one side just while I get my scoreboard down. So let's put the finished one over there as well. So we're going to start off with the wrap, and we're going to pop that in the board. So you're going to put it with your shortest side in the top. So the shortest side is the 7 inches. That's going in the top there. I'm just going to adjust this light so you can see a little bit better. And you're going to score this at 2 1/4 inches. And then I just like to do another half turn and do 2 1/4 inches. And you know what I'm going to tell you to do. We're going to give this a burnish. So this is now the wrap for our book. Okay, we're not having a hard spine on this. We're going to have, it's going to come a soft spine. So that's that. And now we need to score all our pages. So you're going to have 9 of these, and you need to score these on the long side. So the long side is your 10-inch piece. Okay, and you're going to score this at 8 1/4 inches and 8 1/2 inches. And we need to do that on all 9. And I'm going to do it with you in real time. So if you're a visual learner and you like to craft along with me, I'm right here. Now, when I'm giving out, when I'm doing things like this, which is a free tutorial, I don't give out PDFs to go with them. However, the link will be there for my website, and over on my website there will be the written measurements and instructions that you will require. So you can just check out my website, which is dawnsinspirations.com. And while we're talking about like subscribing to YouTube, if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can also subscribe or press like on my Facebook page, Dawn's Inspirations, because on there is where I put everything that I'm doing, anything crafting related. Okay, so I often share over on my private page, but mainly it's all on my Dawn's Inspirations page. So events that I'm doing, like workshops, TV work, demonstrations, they're all over on there. So that is all my scoring now done. And you know what I'm going to tell you we're going to do? We're going to start burnishing. So let's get these all burnished. So you've got 2 burnishing lines to do on each one. Okay, so you're going to have that nice little gusset. Okay, hopefully it's showing up on the black. That's better. Okay, so you can see that nice little gusset. And we're going to do that on all 9 pages. So just take your time. If you're a bit slower at doing this, you could pause the video now and do yours and then press play again. So that's the little top tip, because I know everybody crafts at a different rate, so there's no problem whatsoever. But as I say, it's going to be picking your pattern papers that is going to take you the longest. But the nice thing is, if you've got 8x8 pads, you haven't got to do any cutting. It's absolutely perfect. I think there's only one part we're going to cut, which is going to be to put on our outside wrap, and I will share all that with you later. Let's fold these first. So yes, this is a really quick, super quick basic album. You've got the nice 1/4 inch gusset between the pages. So again, if you feel that you want to put additions onto this, if you're a seasoned scrapbooker or mini book maker and you think, oh, I want to put a pocket and I'd like to put a flap, you can do. This is just bringing it right back to basics for any beginners out there, anybody that hasn't tried doing mini books before. This is a really quick, simple one to do. You know, if you need that mini book in a hurry for an event or someone's birthday, this again is super quick to do. And if you've got 8x8 papers kicking about like I have in my craft stash, this is the most brilliant way to use them. Definitely that and also my 8x8 folios. So yes, definitely. So I'm on the last couple now. Doesn't take long at all really, does it? So you can see why the original was a 6x6 mini album in an hour, because it literally does take. I could probably do it in under an hour. That's just to make the main album itself. Obviously, as I said, it's the papers that are going to take you the longest. So we've got them all there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got them all. Got them all. Right, now we can start gluing. Okay, so we're going to start adding some glue. So I'm using EVA glue here. This is from Pink Frog. So you'd have seen me using it on the telly. So this is how it comes, and I like to use this because this is acid and lignin free, so perfect for these projects. So we're going to start with one, and I'm going to add my glue, and I'm going close to the edge but not on the edge. You'll also notice with this glue you don't need to use lots of it. Okay. And then I'm going to get my next page, so I'm folding the flap up here, and you're going to attach it down here. You will find the way that suits you to put these together, but I find this works best for me because I can see that they're butt up. Can you see the two pieces there together? So the next thing I'm going to tell you to do is to go in and burnish, because by burnishing we're pushing the glue into the fibres of the paper. Okay, and I do like to just whiz it on the other side and burnish the other side as well. Okay, so that's over there, and then we start again. So we get the next one, and this is as simple as it is. You know, this is why this has been such a really big hit when I did this as a 6x6. I think already it's had over 165,000 views on this album. I've had lots of fabulous comments and thumbs up, but it's just one of those albums that people come back to time and again because it's quick. And it's sometimes the quick ones that we need. So I just thought, well, let's update it and let's bring it to a nice 8x8 version. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to put that one back. In fact, no, I'm going to leave those laying down up like that, because then you can see what I'm doing. So again, and because we've used the A4, very simple. Now I know US A4 is different to UK A4, but you could quite easily do this with your US A4 and just do your pattern papers a different size, or have it that you stick your pattern papers on and you've got more cardstock showing around the edge. The choice is going to be yours. But this is a great one to even get kids involved in, because you've seen how easy this is coming together. Now I've done this with several pages. You could do it quite easily with less pages if you chose, and all you've got to do is with your wrap just adjust the measurement of the spine bit itself. So, and I will share with you when I've done this how easy it is to calculate that if you wish to change the number of pages you want to put in. Okay, so, and be quite firm when you're burnishing, because normally I like to burnish from both sides and I'm not. In fact I should be, because you've got this big piece here, and I put that on there because we've got to have something to hold our pages together. Right, that should be about right. So let's just carry on. So back in again with the glue. I like using these fine nozzle bottles as well from Pink Frog, because as you can see it's given me more control. And the nice thing about these bottles is they're really squidgy. So if you've got dexterity problems at all, you have not got to worry. Okay. So you can see how I'm just going to lift that up, you can see how they're all coming together, just laying nicely one on top of the other. Alright. And don't rush this bit, just take your time. If I'm going too fast, as I say, just pause the video and then you can just press play when you're ready to rejoin me. You can watch the video as many times as you wish. That's the other nice thing. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, it's all coming together, and that is the satisfying thing about it. So push that part over and then just line that up nicely. And then last one. Told you it's going to be super quick. Fold that down this way. This is why this is so important to do your burnishing of your score lines, because it does make life easier as we're bringing this all together. And don't worry like there if you've got any glue seeping out, just rub it away, but that's going to have the wrap round it, so you're not going to see that. And then we've got this last piece here. Remember we cut the piece that was 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. This is then going to go onto here. So I'm going to stick that on there. I'm saying 8 1/4 by 8 1/4. That's feeling too big. Yes, it is feeling too big. Let me just recut that. Just checking I've got my trimmer here off camera. I thought that didn't feel 8 1/4. That's it. Right, so let me just put a little bit more glue onto here. This EVA glue does take off very quickly as well. It's a quick grab, and it does take off very quickly. Yeah, that was that piece. I think I might have said in the beginning 8 1/4 by 8 1/2. It needs to be 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, but you'll have all the measurements that you require over on my website. And then I'm just going to just do these last few. that by using the fine nozzle bottles, can you see I haven't got any glue seepage, which is perfect. So that is mainly, just needs to just all come together where it's been laid flat on the desk. That is the start of our book. So let me just wipe this nozzle and we will bring in the covers and do the covers. So that is basically your book there, all ready to go. Okay, that's as quick and easy as that is to do. All right, so it just needs time to settle down, and while that glue is just taking off, I'm going to bring in the 2 pieces of chipboard. So I've cut my chipboard at 8.5 by 8.25. So normally with a book I like to have a piece all the way round, but I've kept it as the 8.25 all the way along. So I've done it for that reason. Where's my original book gone? There we go. I've done it like that, so all the pages are the same as the cover with this one, so it stands up quite happily. Because this hasn't got a firm spine, it means it's standing quite nicely. Okay, so you haven't got all that flapping about. Now I'm just using normal grey board or mount board if you like, and I've just taken just a black or dark grey pen. Okay, I've started that one already, and I'm just colouring around the edges. Now you could paint this if you wish, that is another option, but I'm just thinking let's keep it quick, let's keep it simple. So I'm just using an alcohol pen just to colour the black around the edge. Now if you've chosen a different colour cardstock, again you may wish to colour your chipboard or mount board or grey board something in a different colour. Now if you can't get hold of mount boards, keep an eye on the packaging that you get coming through the door for parcels, you know, or the backs of your big 12 by 12 paper pads, because they often have nice thick sturdy board that you can use. Okay, so I'm only doing just the edge because we're going to be putting the pattern paper on the top, so there's no problem whatsoever. Okay, so I'm just making sure I've got good coverage, and then the last thing I like to do is just go round the edge with my pen. Now isn't that a really quick way rather than getting paint out? Because sometimes as well with paint it will warp slightly if you're getting too much water into your grey board. You could cover these with pattern paper if you wish. The choice is yours. I'm just showing you a really quick way of doing it. So I've done both of those. Okay, so they're both done. So that is for my covers. So we could stick those on now. So the way you're going to stick it on is, because this is quite flimsy, okay, one of these is going to stick onto here and one of them is going to go onto the top, and that's as simple as it is. All right, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this, and I think it's going to be that way. Yep, so I'm going in again with my EVA. I could have gone onto the paper, but I'm going to go on with the EVA. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit on here to start with. Now, as I said, this EVA dries very quickly, so I need to work quite quickly. Okay, I like to put some in the middle as well because we need something for it to stick onto. and the grey board will also soak this up. Okay, I'm just coming a little bit closer down that side. The nice thing as well about having these fine nozzle bottles is if you haven't quite caught the edge with glue, you can go in afterwards. So I'm going to pick this up. I've just laid that sort of flat, if you like. I'm going to put that over the top. And again, I'm doing the same thing again. I'm butting it up. And I'm just going to flip it over and make sure this side's in the right spot where I want it to. See, I told you it's going to take off quite quickly. It moved a bit quicker than I wanted it to. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to lift that. Move that over onto there. Just make sure I've got that central. Yep. And that's central. I'm going to flip this over so I can see what's going on there. I've got a bit of glue just there which I'm rubbing away, and then I'm going straight in with my bone folder and I'm applying quite a bit of pressure to get the glue stuck from the card or from the grey board into my card. Now this is quite a quick grab glue, so it will take off fairly quickly. That's one on. So now I need to get the other one on. And in fact, let's try it the other way around this time. So now let's go on with our... We'll try both ways and then you can work out which one you prefer to do. So yes, as I said, this originally was a 6x6, quick and easy 6x6 mini in an hour. So we're making it an 8x8 because I must say I do like the 8x8 size for putting your photographs in. And then I'm going to take this piece and again I'm butting it up to that edge, lay it on the top, and I'm just going to bring that over. Yes, that's all on there nicely, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. Burnish, 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 burnish. Get all that glue stuck to the fibres of your paper. So that, you can see now that's starting to get a bit more stability. Nice and sturdy. Okay, so that's really coming together nicely. So what we're going to do now, what I'm going to do now, and you can do this with me, is I'm going to start gluing in my pattern papers. So I'm going to start with my front and back cover. So as I said, I've done some over stamping on here. Then I've got to decide which piece of board looks the nicest and which is going to be the front and which is going to be the back. The choice is yours. I'm going to have this one as the front, I think, because I think that's got a neater edge. Now when you stick your front piece on, you are going to have that gap down here. Now I haven't coloured mine black. Do not fret, because remember we've got our wrap to put over the top. Okay, so I'm going to start now sticking my pattern papers on. Okay, so actually I'm just going to look at my clock. So that took roughly, that part has taken half an hour. Okay, so that's only taken half an hour to do that bit. So you can see how easily, if you prepare your pattern papers, how quickly you can get this put together. So I think, yeah, I say half an hour. Is that half? Yes, half an hour. Very impressed. So I've prepared all my pieces here. So let's put the back one on while we're here. But these are fabulous papers, and they're great because it's not coated paper. That gives you the ability to be able to stamp and colour on the top, which is beautiful. And I do like having that black or the coloured card all the way round. I just think that just gives it its matte and layer, if you like. Okay, that's what I like to call it. And then I'm going to start loading this up now with some pattern papers that I've already gone in and stamped on. Now you could just use, like I did in the first one, just normal pattern papers from a paper collection quite nicely. So again, making sure you've got that piece. I'm just taking my time here, sorry. Making sure you've got that border of black all the way around. Alright, and what I've done on mine is I did stamp mine that I've done it that I can get one photo on one side and two on the other. Okay, and I varied them, so some can be portrait, some can be landscape, you know, and I've just used a little camera stamp there to show the recipient where they can put their photographs. And then as you'll see on this one, we put them that side this time, and you'll see on there I've put a mask of I've just used Mask It, cut to the size of the photograph, and I've just done some inking around the edge, so if I'm giving this as a gift, the person can actually see where the where to put the photographs. So there's lots of stamps out on the market that you can place your photo here and put in exactly what size photo that people are wanting to have as well. So they are also available. Okay. So I'm just bringing that in there. You can see how nicely this is going to gradually come together. Let's have it. Oh, we had that one on that side, so this time I'll put it on this side. Okay, but fabulous colours from these papers, aren't they? I'm now hoping I've done enough papers. I should have done. I didn't count them, did I? But never mind, I'm sure we'll be fine. And if not, I've got enough in my pad, because there's 36. I can just make some extras quite easily. There we go. We haven't had that one yet. And that one's in the middle. So I'm going to keep going. So we had, I'm sort of alternating mine a bit to give it a little bit of difference. But again, the choice is entirely yours. So yes, if you're using these for photographs, it is good to use glue that is acid and lignin free, because by doing that, it's not going to eat away at your photographs. And some of you may say, well, I'm only using digital photographs. But who's saying in years to come that you'll still have those digital photographs for future generations to find? So that's what I always say. The photographs you're taking today are going to be the photographs you're going to be, or future generations will be sharing tomorrow. So that's why I try and treat everything as is. And now these glues are available on the market, because I know obviously to start with glues like that weren't available on the market, so it's fabulous that they are. So we have it that way around. I'm just checking before, so I'm going to put it on this side this time. I've actually coloured these. I used a VersaFine Clair to stamp with. and I used a brown colour to bring through the distressed wooden look, but the other side of the paper is just as beautiful. But I do love this sort of weathered wood look. I think it is marvellous. So I've used the VersaFine Clair for stamping, and then I coloured with actual watercolour pencils, and then I used my blending solution for my normal pencils to actually smooth out the lines. So rather than going in with a watercolour brush and making my papers too wet, I use the watercolour, the blending solution that you use for normal pencils. So I'm going to go in with that on this side this time. I'm just going to have a sneak back because I've redone these pages and I'm checking I haven't, or perhaps because I did that one that way around that time, perhaps I'll do it that way around this time. I'm going to change it up. But I know you're going to love making these, you know, very few supplies, just some A4 card. These could be made in any colour you want as well, because A4 card, let's face it now, we can buy it in lots of colours. I would recommend going no lower than a 250 GSM. I don't know what that is in American pounds weight for card, so I would go for 250 GSM for the cardstock, and then the pattern paper doesn't really matter then because you've got decent cardstock. Okay, so you're absolutely fine. We'll have these going round the alternating way. But the measurements have been done, so you're seeing now 8x8 paper on these is so super quick to get down, isn't it? No cutting, no messing. You know, if you've got 12x12 and you want to use scraps up, feel free. If you've got A4 pattern papers you want to use up as well, feel free. This is the thing, you can mix and match collections with this book as well. You know, you could do them all in the same sort of colour palette if you didn't want to. I'm going with all the colours here because I just love it. So that's what I'm doing, but personal choice entirely. Okay, I am going to do a bit of die cutting for the wrap, but again, if you don't have a die cutting machine, you don't have to. You can just keep it square. This is why this is perfect for beginners as well as seasoned crafters, because you can take it as far or not as you wish. So that is the nice thing about it. Okay, so you can, honestly, it's not taking long at all. I'm just checking what level. Yeah, just making sure it's got that nice border of black, like it's got that matte on it, and you can see as it's laying there, just looks beautiful, doesn't it, all laying there together. And then last two pieces of pattern paper. But as I say, it's picking the papers that's going to take you the longest. There we go. So that's the cover done. And all the pages all stuck in, ready to go. We just need to attach our wrap now. So you had your piece of card that measured 8 8 1/4 by 7 with your score lines. Now what I've done with mine, where's mine? Ooh. Let me bring mine in here. I've actually used a die. Okay. So what I've done is I've attached my die onto my paper, and again, personal preference, how far you want to go up, whether you want to have more showing or less showing. Choice is going to be yours, and then you're just going to pop that on and pop that through your die cutting machine. Okay, I'm not going to do that with you because you don't want to listen to my machine whirring away in the background. So all I've done is stuck that down, pop that through the machine, put the die on this side, and done exactly the same again. So the choice is yours how far from the score line you want to bring it up. You can take it as far as you like. The choice is yours. If you don't have a decorative die, okay, that fits, not a problem. You could go in with some decorative scissors. You could go in with a border punch. You could go in with a decorative over punch. You know, there's several different things you could do. So have a look and see what you've got in your craft stash. So I have done mine. So this is what I've done earlier. Okay, so I've die cut both my pieces out. And then I'm just going to snip that little piece off. Okay, so I've got that nice decoration going on. And there. And there. Okay, so that's off. And then the next thing I did was I got my last piece of pattern paper. I folded this in half. And I attached the same die and cut through the 2 pieces of paper in one go. Okay, so that's the next thing you would do. All right, so now let's bring that in here. I'm just going to put my die back on its board because I know what I'm like. I end up losing them here. Now, I've got this cut here, but obviously that's too big to go on there. So what I like to do is do myself a little pencil mark. Excuse me if you can see my head. I'm just lining that up. And I've lost my pencil, so I'll have to do a pen mark. So I'm going to put a pen mark there. And I'm going to put a pen mark there. Okay, I'm going to bring my trimmer in. And I'm going to cut under the pen mark, if you like. By cutting under the pen mark, it means I'll have a little bit of a black going on the outside piece as well. So let me share with you. So by cutting under, it means I've got black both sides. Okay, that makes sense. And then I'm going to see if this one will fit on this one, and then it makes it very easy. No, see, that one's slightly bigger. So again, I'm going to lay that on, and I think I need to cut where that line is on the paper itself. So that's very easy. Okay, so that's my 2 pieces, so I can get these stuck on here. Now you don't have to put anything on there if you don't want to. The choice is yours, but I think it looks quite nice. You know, if I bring in the finished one here, I think it looks quite nice to have that sort of black edge to it, if you like. It's bringing the whole album together. So I'm just going to stick this on here. And I've used the same colour as I did for the front and back cover. Put the next one on here. So, and that one goes onto there as well. And then we're now going to attach this to the book itself. Okay, so this is where you need to choose what edge you're going to have on. I think that one can go on there. So you're going to put glue all on one side first. And you know it's going to fit because you can feel, you'll feel the edge of your board. You'll feel the edge of your board and you know the top and bottom will fit. Okay, and if I lay that back I can see that's right up to where it should be. So I'm just going to give that a little burnish because that won't take too long to take off. If you were concerned you could go in with red line tape, the choice is yours, but just while that one is taking off, if you wanted to use less paper, because I want that to dry before I start trying to wrap that around the other one, if you were using less pages, okay, like less of these, what you would do is get your tape measure and measure your spine up. So when you put your book together, what I normally like to do is I stand it all up, making sure all these are back straight, making sure they're all nice and back straight, and then I put them on my board and then I know exactly the gap I need between this straight panel, if you like. Okay. So that front one should have glued, so now we can glue the back one. So again, gluing up to that line. Okay. So the possibilities with this, really, this is where, now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that score line is up on the edge of your board line. So I just like to rest it on my hand, making sure that's straight. I could have gone in with a bit of red liner tape, but I didn't. I'm going to just stand it on its side. As I say, you have that few minutes, so just put it around that way, might be easy because I'm right-handed, and just let that grab. So I'm just pushing the board up against that score line that we've created, and the colour looks, by keeping the colour the same, you've got that nice black line going around it. I think that's taken off enough now that I can that border on. Yeah, that's it. Now to start with, you'll feel like it's trying to fight against itself, and the reason it's doing that, let me just, the light shining through my craft room, the reason it's trying to fight against itself is because we've changed the way that the paper or the card is going to go. But you can see if I push those pages in flat, that it fits that length or the width of your spine. So if I wanted to put 4 pages in, I would make my 4 pages together, measure it, and that's where my score line would go. Okay, but that's it, all done. That is all finished. So let me have a quick look. Well, that's under an hour. That's done in 50 minutes, and I've been waffling on to you. Yes, I didn't do my die cutting, but I had 10 minutes, so I could have done the die cutting with the 10 minutes, but he didn't want to listen to my machine going around, and the sun's now blaring through my window, which is beautiful. But that is our book done. So that is a super quick 8x8 album in an hour. The bit that's going to take you the length of time is your papers. So if you remember, to actually make the book itself only took half an hour. So you can see how quick and easy it is to do. You know, you could have a ribbon fastening on the edge here as well, but just keep, once the glue's taken off, just keep laying the pages open, because this then will curve, if you like, the back of your album. So if I look now, can you see it's now getting a curved look to it, like an old-fashioned book. So if I put the two together, there we go. They could all sit quite happily on the bookshelf. Now some people may say to me, okay, I want to put some paper on here. You could put some paper on there, however just be mindful that when you're opening it out and looking through it, it needs to move. So we don't want any more bulk on that part of the spine. What you could do on your spine, if you really want to decorate the spine up, is you could stamp on it. So oxide inks take particularly well on the cardstock that I'm using from Pink Frog, so you could stamp on it. If you're using word stamps and things and you want to put, say, a title saying Christmas wherever, or say it was a particular event like a wedding or something, you could stamp the words. You could die cut letters, but again be mindful that as the book opens up, the way that the spine goes is like that. So just be a little bit mindful if you're going to be putting any die cuts on it. I personally would stick to the stamping or nothing at all, okay, because you don't want the bulk on that back. But that is my super quick 8x8 album in an hour. I hope you've enjoyed it and you create your own, and if you do, please share your pictures over on my Dawn's Inspirations Facebook page, because I love to share what you've been making with other crafters. It gives them inspiration as well. And the nice thing is you can make this your own. So whether you want to have a wider wrap or a narrower wrap, the choice is yours. You could even do a wrap out of fabric, a stiffer fabric if you wished. You know, the possibilities are absolutely endless. So I hope you've enjoyed making this with me. I'm Dawn from Dawn's Inspirations, and I'm going to say goodbye for now and have fun crafting. Bye.